All right, welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're taking a look, well, more like a deep dive, I guess, into something most wine drinkers probably never think about.
Right. I'd say that's a safe bet.
We are talking about rootstocks, the stuff under the ground. And honestly, I've been geeking out a little bit on the research you sent over. It's incredible how much impact these unseen players have on what ends up in our glass.
It's a whole world down there, isn't it? You've got these intricate guides, even some sommelier notes, all pointing to the same thing. Rootstocks are essential.
Essential is a good word for it, and that's exactly what we're going to dig into. Why are these rootstocks so vital to the grapes and ultimately the wine we love?
Well, I think to really appreciate it, we need to go back in time. Imagine a world where the concept of a rootstock didn't exist.
Before the days of grafting.
Exactly. Before the mid-1800s, Vitis vinifera, your Cabernet Sauvignons, your Chardonnays, all grew happily on their own roots. It was the way of things.
And then came phylloxera.
Ugh, phylloxera. A tiny insect, like a microscopic aphid, but with a huge appetite for grapevine roots. It hitchhiked from North America to Europe and, well, it wreaked havoc.
Like decimated vineyards kind of havoc?
Decimated is putting it mildly. See, European vines had zero defense against this little bugger. It attacks the roots, forms these galls, basically chokes the vine's ability to take up water and nutrients. The results were catastrophic.
A true wine apocalypse. But didn't the solution, ironically, come from the same place of the problem? North America.
You got it. It turned out, while those American vines didn't produce the kind of grapes European winemakers wanted, they had something even more valuable. Resistance. They'd been battling phylloxera for centuries and evolved defenses.
So American vines to the rescue.
In a way, yes. The solution was grafting, essentially combining the top part of a European vine, the Vitis vinifera, with the roots of a resistant American species.
All right, let's pause there. I know we have some folks listening who are new to all this. So walk us through what grafting actually means when we're talking about grapevines.
Sure. Think of it like a team effort. You take the top part of a vine, the scion, which determines the grape variety. Like, if you want Chardonnay grapes, you need a Chardonnay scion.
Right, the bit that makes the yummy grapes.
Exactly. And you fuse that to a rootstock, the root system from a different vine. That rootstock ideally comes with some great superpowers, like pest resistance.
So those beloved European vines were saved not by their own roots, but by the strength of their American partners. Fascinating.
It's a testament to the adaptability of nature and, of course, human ingenuity. And initially, it was all about survival. But as time went on, growers and researchers realized these rootstocks had more to offer than just phylloxera resistance.
That's what really blows my mind. Like, this solution born out of necessity became this sophisticated tool shaping wine quality.
It's a classic case of turning adversity into advantage. And you're right, those benefits go way beyond just phylloxera.
Okay, let's get into those benefits. What else can these rootstocks do for a vine?
Well, for one, they can offer protection against other nasty things lurking in the soil. Things like nematodes, tiny worms that can damage roots, and certain fungal or bacterial diseases.
So it's like a built-in defense system.
Exactly. And this natural resistance means less need for pesticides, which is a huge win for sustainable viticulture. Healthier vines, healthier environment.
You know, you think about how much land is dedicated to vineyards. That's a pretty big impact. What else we got?
Well, think about the incredible range of places where wine is produced. From hot, dry climates to cool, wet regions and everything in between.
Yeah, the diversity is incredible. And the soil types are all over the map, too.
And that's where rootstocks become even more crucial. They've got different tolerances to tough soil conditions like high salinity, alkalinity, even the presence of something called active lime, which can be a real challenge for some vines.
So you wouldn't plant a rootstock that thrives in a desert, in a humid, rainy region, right?
Right.
You'd pick one suited to those specific conditions.
Precisely. And it's not just about surviving those conditions, it's about thriving. Rootstocks also play a big role in controlling the vigor of a vine, meaning how much it grows.
Okay, so we're talking about how leafy and sprawling the vine gets.
Exactly. Some rootstocks encourage lots of growth, which is great in poorer soils or cooler areas where the vine needs a little extra oomph. Others have a dwarfing effect, perfect for fertile soils or warm regions where you want to focus the vine's energy on producing flavorful grapes.
It's about finding that sweet spot between foliage and fruit. Like, you wouldn't want all leaves and no grapes.
Yeah, no, definitely not. It's all about balance. Now, you can't just slap any scion onto any rootstock and expect happy results. Sometimes they just don't get along. We call that graft incompatibility.
Like a bad roommate situation for plants.
Kind of, yeah. It can happen for several reasons: genetic mismatch, physiological issues, even hidden viruses in either the scion or rootstock.
So it's not as simple as picking your favorite grape and a random rootstock.
Not at all. It's a careful matching game. And then there's the actual process of grafting, which involves various techniques.
Yeah. We've got bench grafting, done indoors, very precise. Then there's field grafting, done right in the vineyard on existing rootstocks.
And don't forget cleft grafting for joining thicker stems, and budding, which uses just a single bud from the scion. Each technique has its pros and cons depending on the time of year, the materials you have, the conditions in the vineyard, and so on.
It's a whole science, really.
Okay.
Okay, so we've got the why and the how of grafting. Now let's talk about the rootstocks themselves. We've got this whole world of different types, but it seems like the real MVPs are these hybrid Vitis SPP rootstocks, right?
They're definitely the most widely used. It's all about combining the best qualities of different Vitis species. Like, you might take the phylloxera resistance of one, the drought tolerance of another, and the vigor control of a third, and blend them all into one super rootstock.
A custom-designed solution for specific needs. I love it. And are there any key players in this world of rootstock species, like the ones that really stand out?
Oh, absolutely. Vitis riparia, for example, is known for its leaf phylloxera resistance and thrives in those cool, moist soils, typically giving you a lower vigor vine. Then there's Vitis rupestris, a real powerhouse when it comes to vigor. It loves dry, poor soils and has fantastic root phylloxera resistance.
So if you've got a tough, dry site, Vitis rupestris might be your go-to. What else?
Well, Vitis berlandieri is another big one. This species tolerates high-lime soils and drought conditions like a champ. It typically has moderate vigor and good root phylloxera resistance, too.
And this is interesting. Sometimes even Vitis vinifera gets thrown into the mix, right?
Yep. Not as the main event, but breeders might incorporate a bit of Vitis vinifera to fine-tune things, maybe influence soil adaptation, or even indirectly grape quality. It's all about nuance.
Now, what about those native Vitis vinifera rootstocks, the ones that were there before phylloxera struck? Are those still around?
Honestly, they're pretty rare these days. Understandably, since they're susceptible to phylloxera, you might find them in isolated pockets where phylloxera hasn't reached, or maybe in some very specialized breeding programs.
But for the most part, it's the hybrids that are running the show. Makes sense. And to make things a little easier, rootstocks are grouped based on certain key characteristics, aren't they?
They are. You can think of it like a classification system, helping growers choose the right tool for the job. You've got categories based on vigor, from high to low. Then you have phylloxera resistance, tolerance to nematodes, drought tolerance, salinity tolerance, even adaptation to calcareous soils.
So if a vineyard is struggling with a specific issue like salty soil or too much lime, they can look for a rootstock specifically classified to handle that.
Exactly. It's like having a specialized toolkit. And our sources actually dive into some of the most popular rootstocks out there. Want to take a look?
Let's do it. First up, 1103 Paulson. Tell me about this one.
Well, 1103 Paulson comes from a Vitis berlandieri and Vitis rupestris pairing. It's a high-vigor rootstock, loves those warm climates and poor soils, and handles drought and lime like a pro. You often find it in places like the Rhone Valley or Australia.
A real workhorse. What kind of grapes does it typically partner with?
It tends to do well with those vigorous red varieties, your Grenaches, your Shirazes. But with all that vigor, you do have to manage it carefully.
Otherwise, you end up with a jungle instead of a vineyard.
Pretty much. Next up, we have 110 Richter, which actually shares the same parentage as 1103 Paulson, but is a bit more, well, subdued.
Less rambunctious.
Yeah, you could say that. A 110 Richter is known for its exceptional tolerance to calcareous soils and thrives in places like Burgundy and Southern Europe.
Classic wine regions. And what grapes does it like to hang out with?
It's a popular choice for Pinot Noir and Chardonnay, especially in warmer areas. Helps those varieties keep their balance, that lovely concentration without losing freshness.
Keeping things elegant. All right, next on the list is SO4. What can you tell me about this one?
SO4 comes from a Vitis berlandieri and Vitis riparia cross. Moderate vigor, loves those fertile, well-watered soils. Think Germany, Central Europe. It's often used for aromatic whites like Riesling and Gewürztraminer, helping them produce those beautifully balanced, elegant wines.
Sounds like a perfect match for those aromatic powerhouses.
Yeah.
Now, we've got 41B, which has an intriguing lineage, right?
It does. 41B is a cross between Vitis berlandieri and, get this, Vitis vinifera, specifically the Chaucelis variety. It's a real specialist, known for thriving in those calcareous soils, especially in the Champagne region.
So if you want those classic champagne characteristics, minerality, acidity, 41B is a good bet.
Absolutely. It's got moderate to low vigor, so it doesn't get too out of control, and it's resistant to phylloxera. Great choice for Chardonnay and Pinot Meunier in those chalky Champagne soils.
Perfect for the bubbly. And last but not least, we've got Furcal. This one sounds like it's ready to tackle some serious challenges.
Furcal is a tough one. It comes from Vitis berlandieri and Vitis virginensis, and it's specifically designed for those incredibly high lime soils, the ones that would make most other rootstocks give up. It's got moderate vigor, good phylloxera resistance, and is often used for varieties that are sensitive to lime, like Sauvignon Blanc and Merlot.
So if you've got a really extreme site, Furcal is your superhero. That's amazing. It's clear that choosing the right rootstock is a pretty complex decision, right?
Mm.
What are the key things a grower needs to consider?
Well, it all starts with the terroir. That's your starting point, the unique combination of soil, climate, and everything else that makes a place special.
So step one, know your land.
Exactly. You need a detailed soil analysis, look at the pH, texture, organic matter, salinity levels. You need to know what you're working with.
And then, of course, there's the climate. Rain, sun, temperature swings, that all plays a role, right?
Absolutely. And then you've got to think about the scion, the grape variety you want to grow. Some rootstocks are better suited to certain varieties than others. They can influence the vine's growth, the grape quality, even the style of the wine.
It's like a matchmaking service for plants.
You could say that.
Yeah.
And then there's the training system, how you're actually going to arrange the vines in the vineyard. A high-vigor rootstock might need a more expansive system, while a low-vigor one might do better in a more compact setup.
And of course, the grower has their own goals, right?
Yeah.
What kind of yield are they aiming for? What style of wine?
Exactly. Ultimately, you're trying to find the perfect balance between vine growth, grape quality, and the desired yield. And the rootstock is a key player in that equation.
So it's this whole intricate web of factors. And even after you've planted the vines, the work doesn't stop, does it?
Oh, not at all. Caring for those rootstocks is an ongoing process. You need to prepare the soil properly before planting, adjust the pH, add nutrients if needed, and keep those weeds under control.
Like setting the stage for success, right?
Absolutely. Then, when you're planting those grafted seedlings, you need to think about spacing, depth, orientation, everything. Those little vines need all the help they can get.
Especially in that first year, right? What kind of TLC do they need?
Regular watering is crucial. You've got to get rid of those pesky suckers, those shoots that grow below the graft, and protect them from frost if you live in a cold area. And of course, keep those weeds at bay and fertilize as needed.
Those baby vines need all the nutrients they can get. And as they mature, how do you manage the rootstock itself?
Well, in the early years, you've got to train them, guide their growth to create that permanent structure, the trunk and arms. And when it comes to pruning, the rootstock's vigor will influence how many buds you leave on the vine, which directly impacts the yield and grape quality.
It all circles back to that delicate balance. And what about soil health in the long run? How does that play into things?
Soil health is crucial for happy rootstocks. Things like cover crops, green manure, composting, these all help create a thriving environment. And regular soil testing is key to make sure everything is on track.
It's like a constant conversation with the soil, understanding its needs. Now, looking ahead, what are some of the challenges facing rootstocks and the people who grow them?
Well, climate change is a big one. We're seeing more droughts, heat waves, unpredictable weather. So we need rootstocks that can handle those extremes, maybe with deeper root systems that can access water more efficiently.
Adapting to a changing world. What else?
Well, there's always the threat of new pests and diseases emerging. So research is ongoing to develop rootstocks with greater resistance, constantly staying one step ahead.
Staying vigilant, for sure. And what about sustainability?
That's a major focus. It's all about promoting eco-friendly practices in rootstock nurseries, minimizing pesticide use, conserving water, protecting soil health, and preserving genetic diversity.
It's about the bigger picture. And I imagine research into new and improved rootstocks is constantly evolving, right?
Absolutely. There's always a push to find rootstocks with specific qualities for different regions and grape varieties. Even exploring the potential of biotechnology and genetic engineering to fine-tune things even further.
It's fascinating how something so often overlooked has such a huge impact. It's clear that rootstocks are more than just a solution to a problem. They're a vital part of winemaking. They shape the health of the vines, the resilience of the vineyards, and ultimately the quality of the wine in our glass.
They're the unsung heroes, working tirelessly beneath the surface to bring us the wines we love.
It makes you think, right? Next time you enjoy a glass of wine, take a moment to appreciate that unseen partnership happening below ground. It's a testament to nature's ingenuity and human adaptation. And who knows what challenges the future holds?
It's a thought-provoking question. How will these rootstocks continue to evolve and adapt? It's a story that's still being written.
A story worth following for sure. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time.